Good Tuesday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Beltima Fungicide, the proven #1 for the toughest corn diseases with long-lasting residual when you need to be confident your fungicide will perform. I'm Joe Everett. The Ohio AgNet stays busy on the road this week. Powered by soy biodiesel, we will be broadcasting from the Shelby County Fair today. Thanks to Tempty Trailers. Check out their new location right there in Sidney, Ohio. And if you're at the fair and hungry during lunchtime today, make sure you stop by the Shelby County Cattlemen's Association. They'll be having their beef cookout at 11 o'clock. Then one of the exciting new additions to the 2026 Ohio State Fair is the Land and Living Building, featuring everything Ohio agriculture has to offer. Join the Ohio AgNet on opening day tomorrow of the fair from one of the newest exhibits on the grounds, with coverage brought to you by the Ohio Farm Bureau. Then tune in with the Ohio AgNet from the Ohio State Fair on Thursday, broadcasting from the Dairy Products Building. We'll be catching up with the American Dairy Association Mideast for the remote broadcast. Then listen Friday as we broadcast from the State Fair, thanks to Kalmbach Feeds, feeding you results first. Looking at your agricultural news headlines, we get an update from the Between the Rows farmers, and steady growth marks another productive week for the Ohio Crop Progress Report, and some new technology coming to agriculture. That's all coming up in today's news feed, delivered to you by Ebert's Field Seeds. Proven local seed performance to Ohio farmers, it's time to start planting Ebert's. Call us at 937-473-2521 or visit online at ebertseeds.com. Now we check in with Brianna Smith for this week's Between the Rows.
This week's Between the Rows update is brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the #1 fastest growing and largest Ohio-based independent seed company. Let's check in with Derek Neese of Putnam County.
I'd say we're kind of trending to the dry side of things. We could really use the rain. Our raspberry, blackberry patch, we are at the tail end of the blackberry picking now. Raspberries are done. We've already thinned out the old canes. Tomatoes, we're getting ready for harvest. That'll be in a few weeks probably. Fungicide is done on corn for the most part, except for a couple of our later planted fields. Beans, same way. Stuff progressing around here.
Next, we'll hear from Melissa Clark of Miami County.
Crops are looking good overall. Corn is in R2 right now and moving into R3. Soybeans are anywhere from like R3 to R5. The earlier beans are starting to seed, and then the replant is just beginning to pod. They've been doing aerial fungicide application that started last week, and I think they'll continue doing that through this week as well. And then we've got some hay to make as well over the next dry spell.
Read the full Between the Rows update online today at ohioagnet.com. Reporting for Ohio's Country Journal and Ohio AgNet, I'm Brianna Smith.
Hey, thanks, Brianna. Steady growth marks another productive week for Ohio crops. Let's get a look at some of those numbers in this week's Ohio Crop Progress Report, and that is sponsored by Relentless Ag, every acre at peak performance. Learn more at relentlessag.com. Corn silking has reached 63%, ahead of last week's 42%, and is on trend with the 63% 5-year average. Corn reaching the dough stage is at 13%, trending right along with the 13% average. Ohio corn condition is rated 62% good to excellent. As we look at soybeans, blooming has reached 70%, ahead of the 55% last week and just below the 71% average. Soybean pod setting has reached 33% across the state, ahead of last week's 18%, but barely behind the 34% 5-year average. Ohio soybean condition is rated 57% good to excellent. Winter wheat is now at 97% harvested, which is right on track with the 97% 5-year average. For more on this week's Ohio Crop Progress Report, you can find it today at ohioagnet.com. Now we check in with Dusty Sonnenberg for some new technology in agriculture.
Taking a look at new agricultural technology, autonomous drones and tractors that can map a field and then fly or drive targeted routes to spot struggling crops, signs of fungus, insect infestations, or other problems, and then apply targeted treatments make farming more precise and efficient. But when a drone or tractor loses GPS signal due to tree cover or landscape elevations or other factors, the equipment can fail, navigate off course, and even apply treatments in the wrong areas or crash. Anello Photonics has developed a new technology. They call it Anello SciFog. It's a silicon photonics optical gyro. Joining me to explain more is Mario Panicia. Mario is the founder of Anello Photonics.
we started out creating this SiFog, silicon photonics optical gyro, small form factor, fiber gyro on a chip. Take that, we've developed it works really good. And now we put it into systems that, depending on the application, land, air, sea, we design and optimize for those systems. We optimize the algorithms, right? Cars move and tractors move differently than a drone, and different drones, fixed wing versus hexacopters versus maritime. Optimize that, add that to algorithms, and then you come back with a small box that can give eyes to people who can't see in GPS denied, and however you lose GPS, whether it's farming, construction, barns, tunnels, bridges, or in war-torn areas where it's really GPS denied. Same tech, and this is one of those things that dual use, right? So we apply it to both areas, and I'm quite excited because I think we really solve a practical problem, but we can give our customers real solutions that quickly can be used and solve their problems.
Again, those are the comments of Mario Panicia. He's the founder of Anello Photonics, explaining the science behind some amazing new technology to provide guidance and continue operations when GPS signals not available for various reasons. This Anello technology can be used in agriculture and autonomous drones and tractors, all the way to high-tech applications for military operations. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit their website at AnelloPhotonics.com. That's ANELLOPHOTONICS, AnelloPhotonics.com. Reporting for the Ohio AgNet, I'm Dusty Sonnenberg.
Hey, thanks, Dusty. Now let's get a check on today's forecast, which is brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the #1 fastest growing and largest Ohio-based independent seed company. Here's Ryan Martin.
Sunshine overspreading a large part of the state here today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. After some very good moisture came together late yesterday through last night, we'll see that tail off here this morning and midday, maybe lingering a little bit longer in southern Ohio. But as a rule, clouds are going to be giving way to sunshine through the day. Today, we're slightly cooler, still pretty humid. Then tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, just beautiful weather across the Buckeye State. Yes, can be a little bit more humid, especially as we head toward Friday, but overall, no major complaints for the rest of this week. Our next chance at moisture goes into the weekend. Maybe some pop-up showers and thunderstorms for Saturday, a few lingering on Sunday. I'm only looking at 50 to 60% coverage out of that, with a quarter to maybe half an inch of rain. And then we go into next week, not much happening Monday, Tuesday, but heat-based showers and storms are back Wednesday through the Friday time frame next week. Good rains, I think, for about 80 to 90% of the state. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more as the Ohio AgNet continues.
The Ohio State Fair has more of the fair you love.
It's the best day together with more to do. Bring the whole crew for the classics you love, plus even more to explore, taste, and experience with brand new buildings, attractions, and more.
More of the fair you love. The Ohio State Fair, July 29th through August 9th, 2026.
Plan your day and get tickets at ohiostatefair.com.
You're tuning in on the Ohio AgNet. I'm Joe Everett. We now check in with Ty Higgins for an Ohio State Fair preview in today's featured audio.
Tomorrow kicks off this year's Ohio State Fair for another 12-day run through August 9th. A lot of new and exciting things happening on the Ohio Expo Center grounds this year. Governor Mike DeWine talks about some of the new things fairgoers will see this year when they head to Columbus, including the Ohio Showcase building.
Really serves two purposes. One is the brand new food hall, highlighting food from Ohio restaurants. So we're going to have restaurants that many of them have never been at the fair before. They're going to be right in that building. You're also going to see, cooking outside as well. The other part of the building is really some history of the fair, but also history of the state of Ohio. And so we partnered with the Ohio History Connection to really tell the Ohio story. The first thing people are going to experience when they walk in is a 360-degree film that will surround them, and as well as on top in the ceiling. And in 14 or 15 minutes, we kind of tell the story of Ohio from prehistoric time up until the present. And, it's kind of difficult to do in that shorter period of time, but I think people are going to like it, and I think they will want to come back and see it a number of times. It's very fast-paced, and it also has, just a number of wonderful, wonderful pictures of people and places throughout Ohio history, what I would just call the Ohio story.
And of course, you can't talk about the Ohio State Fair without the world-famous Butter Cow, which has an upgraded home this year.
there was some plans or some idea that maybe we should tear that building down, build a new one. But it's really an iconic building. The location is great. People are used to meeting there. And so we made the decision to air condition it, put restrooms in the back of it, build out the area for the workers who work in there. So it's going to be a new experience. I think it's going to be a lot better experience.
Another brand new building will tell the story of Ohio agriculture in a way it's never been told before.
The Ohio Agriculture Center, 177,000 square foot multi-purpose building. Again, it's going to combine a kind of a taste of Ohio. Commodities will be in there. People will be able to get their food. It'll be a new environment. It's air conditioned, ample room to sit down and enjoy the food, or they can certainly can take it outside. It's also going to have a really newly imagined what agriculture is like today in the state of Ohio. You know, we have, if you look at the visitors to the Ohio State Fair, we have a lot of people from ag communities kids who come to the state fair and show off their projects, whether it's livestock or whether it is, Fran and I had children at the Ohio State Fair who did photography, all kinds of different projects, and that's really the center, to some extent, the center of the fair. But we also know that there are a lot of young people and older people who come to the state fair who don't live on a farm, who don't know much about agriculture. And we are using this as an opportunity to kind of brag about Ohio agriculture, show people who don't live on a farm or who are not farmers what agriculture is all about. For example, in this Ohio Agriculture Center, one of the popular things we've seen in the past is the birthing center. And as you remember, it has been really outside in a covered area, but you kind of just walk by it and can watch. But we're moving that right into this indoor Ohio Agriculture Center. That will be one of the things that is in there. The Ohio Farm Bureau has agreed to have some brand new things to participate in, really kind of hands-on learning experiences where people can, whether from a farm or not from a farm, they can get a real feel for what agriculture is like in the state of Ohio today.
All of it quite an investment for the Expo Center and for the Ohio State Fair as a whole. And Governor DeWine talks about why he thought it was so important to make these upgrades.
It goes back to something much bigger than a fair. We need to sell Ohio. We need to explain to people all the great things there are in the state of Ohio. And frankly, we're Ohioans. You know, we get up in the morning, we go to work. It's a great state to live in. The quality of life is wonderful, but we're not braggers. We don't brag a lot. I could mention a few other states that seem to brag a lot, but it just seemed to me we need to brag a little bit. And we need to also show all Ohioans. Ohio is such a diverse state. It's such a different state. It's a state of city-states. We have more major cities than virtually any state in the union. Yet, if you drive through Ohio, it doesn't take you too long to figure out it's a huge agriculture state as well. So fairs are supposed to be the best of the state, but it's also an opportunity to see all the reasons that we have led and been one of the leading states in this country since we became a state in 1803.
Again, the state fair runs tomorrow through August 9th. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins reporting.
Hey, thanks, Ty. It's now time for today's market analysis, which is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring the brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Sharply lower in the marketplace to start the work week yesterday. As we take a look at the reasons, well, you have to go back to the week prior. Last week when the market ran up, and I told you then on a couple of these recaps that there wasn't really a good fundamental reason for the markets to move. Why did the markets go up last week? War premium, whether it was Ukraine, Russia, or whether the U.S. and Iran, and then weather. Concerns over action a little bit further to the west. What changed this week? Well, war premium. The U.S. and Iran. The U.S. puts on pause all the new airstrikes that they did recently and trying to give diplomacy a shot. Whether that works or not, nobody knows. And Russia, Ukraine, allowing some boats maybe to get out now and not necessarily hitting ports. Odessa trying to open up. On top of that, weather may not have been quite as bad as what was projected as we finished out the weekend and started the day yesterday. But that meant a lot of premium came out of these markets, and otherwise, nothing's changed fundamentally. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight market trade. September corn, 455.5, up 3 3/4. August soybeans, 1212 1/4, up 3 3/4. As we look to livestock from yesterday's close, August live cattle, 225.22, down $1.85, and September feeder cattle, 331.92, down $9.52. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.